yeah.
Talk whack to me, talk whack to me,
yeah.
Talk whack to me, talk whack
It's
to me.
the WACCast podcast, yeah.
Talk whack to me, talk whack to me,
yeah.
Talk whack to me, talk whack to me. Whoa, 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 ho, 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 ho. What is up, black people? Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to get this whack wisdom from us today. I hope everything is amazing for you all, as always. I am, of course, your host, the Honorable OCT Octavius Haye. And you are listening to the WACCast podcast. Yes, sir. Been about 2 weeks off. Took a little break time, but back at it with more whackness, and it has been definitely whack while I've been gone. Before we get into the issues, though, today I do have to address the fact that I'm no longer doing this with the co-host. You know, when we first started the WACCast podcast, it was me, and it was, of course, E-Rob, who I always give an entertaining E word for. But yeah, you know, if you've noticed, the last few episodes have just been me solo, dolo, doing it by myself. I didn't want to address it at the time because I was hoping that E would come and we would talk about it then. Initially, what was going to happen was E just told me, after we did episode 53, he told me he wanted to take a little break and focus on music, and I was supportive of that, and I said, okay, that's cool, that's fine. And I took a little while off too. It was okay, I'll take a little break too, we'll come back and we'll repurpose this, and maybe some time off will be fine, we can think a little bit. As it became more and more, though, I said, well, we can't just completely drop the pod, we're still trying to grow. So I went ahead and started to record by myself, but always with the intent of E coming back, always with the thought that E was going to be coming back. That's how I framed it, as I thought about it. So I just didn't address it, I just kept it going. However, at this point in time, E-Rob has decided that he does not want to return to the podcast, and that's okay. I support that decision 100% fully. Me and E are kind of moving in different places in our lives, and I think it was just agreed on that this may not be what this may not be where his talents lie. Not be the best way to express himself as he once thought. I really wanted to do this just off of me and E-Rob's conversations we would have when we just were talking. We watch shows, we laugh, we make jokes out of stuff that shouldn't be funny. Like, we just had a really good chemistry, whatever that word is, so we had good chemistry together. And so I thought it would just be fun for us to do a pod, but yeah, it just wasn't for him, and we're just moving forward. But there's no shade and no hate. I love E, and I wish nothing but the best for him, and whatever he goes ahead and does, I hope that he's the best at it and accomplishes all the goals that he wants, and I hope that he feels the same way about me. So it's no hatred, and he's always welcome to come on and talk on the pod if he ever wants to. So yeah, that's that. So since we got that out the way, let's go ahead and get on with the rest of the show. So I'm gone for just a couple weeks, and Kanye West is making videos about wanting to kill Pete Davidson, or little claymation videos of dragging him on a motorcycle, burying him, planting flowers on his head, cutting him off, decapitating him. Kanye made that a song along with The Game, and that was the visuals for the song. Understandably, made a lot of people outraged, and like, what's going on, Kanye? A lot of people saying that Kanye has gone too far, and honestly, Kanye has been gone too far. He has been saying crazy stuff. We always get over it, forgive it, call him a genius. Oh, he just talking real. He just talking real. He just saying what people scared to say. They can't control him. This narrative. And if you want to say that a lot of the points that Kanye makes are right, that is true. But he can also be crazy. And I think that we see that he is also crazy. And I think that we need to stop making excuses for him, stop laughing at it, and stop thinking that, oh, just because he say a couple things, right here that have a point, that all this other stuff is okay, because it's not. Like, even if you don't like Kim, even if you don't like Pete, doing these things when you have that platform and your voice can spread further, and you have a lot of people, a lot of fans who are loyal to you, who don't even know you, that you don't know, that you can't tell not to do nothing to, and even if you put a mass message out there, they still might think that they helping you out. You tripping, man, and you causing unnecessary problems, not just for Pete, but for Kim, and for potentially your own children if they're around Kim or even Pete. Because even if you don't want them to meet him, eventually, if they keep going strong, that's gonna happen. I keep saying, if Kanye had just chilled out, took his medication, worked on his music, maybe he could have got back with Kim, but it's gone so far past anything that's healthy that that relationship cannot work. It just cannot work. It's at least not. It would take a long time of Kanye really looking at himself and acknowledging that he does have a real problem that he can't just tweet away talking about or dismiss in a song, that he has to really hunker down and look at himself, because this has gotten ridiculous. And I still see so many people like clapping for him and talking fight for your family. And okay, it's fine to fight for your family, but at some point you have to look like, well, am I healthy? Are the actions that I'm taking healthy for me, for myself, for my children, for that family that I want, for that family that I'm fighting for? Come on, man. These excuses to pardon Kanye for his heinous acts, that's just because, I get it, he's a black man with power. You don't want him to be torn down. And so many times they call any black man that has an opinion that's against the norm crazy or delusional or yada yada yada. And I get that. I understand. I'm a black man, and I do understand that, and I do agree a lot of times that does happen. But that's not this case. This is a case where we see a man who has completely snapped, who has been showing us that he's snapped. And instead of saying, my brother, chill out, it's like you kind of get criticized if you call him out on his BS. Even when he said slavery was a choice, yeah, we all got mad at him. But then he just went away for a second, came back out with some music, some clothes, some all that stuff, and just started ranting about other things, and people just forgave him. And I think the sad thing is, we do want to love Kanye. That's why he gets forgiven so much. Because I think that he is, and actually, I think he actually is a genuine nice guy. He's a genuine man, a genuinely nice person, human being. I think that's another one of the reasons why we do want to like him and want to forgive him, because we do see through that ego and these rants that there is a kind person there. And because we do see that, if we really care about Kanye, then we would beg him to get help. And we wouldn't be praising these actions, because it's only hurting him. He's losing his family, and Kim's not to blame for that. Who wants to deal with that? You can go ahead and clap for him all day long, but if somebody was doing that to you, you wouldn't want to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with this. This is crazy. This is insane. No, I don't think that Kim should have just went ahead and started dating somebody else like that in the public eye so fast before the papers was even signed. But when you look at how they got together, she was already talking with Kanye before she had signed the paperwork with Chris Humphries, her last husband. So you could kind of consider that karma, if you ask me. But overall, ultimately, what I'm saying is, we got to stop letting Kanye slide. We got to stop babying him. We got to stop pardoning what he's doing. We got to acknowledge he has a problem and the man needs help. All right, now y'all know I had to talk about this one, because this has kind of been the case of the podcast. We would, when it first happened, we used to talk about it like every episode. And anytime there's any updates, it's like, that's got to go on the podcast. Got to update. You got to talk about the updates. And so, even though it's been a little while ago, so it all started, and of course I'm talking about the Meg Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez case. It all started when my boy Akademiks, DJ Akademiks, posted that the DNA on the gun that did not test to be positive for Tory Lanez. And then Meg tweeted out, oh, that's not true. Court hadn't even started yet. Only thing they're doing is arranging a new date. Set up a new date for the trial. And then she starts talking about you bloggers are being paid and y'all telling stuff, confidential information. How'd you get that? It's saying that, accusing Tory of pretty much telling Ack, and even named Ack, told him to get up out of here with that, picking favorites, be a real journalist. To which Ack, of course, as we've known, Ack can get real hype. He don't like to be called a liar. He don't like when anybody talk down on him. And Ack has really been puffing his chest out at anybody who have anything negative to say to him. So, of course, I already knew, and anybody who knows DJ Akademiks already knew, oh, brother's finna respond. And respond he did. He went in on Meg. He had that hen bottle, and Akaveli was out. Akaveli was out and about. He started dogging Meg, talking crap about her, saying she been playing the victim for 2 years. She ain't been making no hit songs. She getting sympathy awards. Her albums are flopping. She ain't got nothing to do but twerk, cry, and twerk. I mean, in true Ack fashion, just obliterated. Now look, I ain't got no problem with Meg. I like Meg. I think she's a star. Maybe musically she might not be as hot as she was, but she's finding other lanes. She's doing a show right now. I think like something to do with animals or something like that. But she's becoming a part of pop culture, which I think is like the good thing to do, because music is so fickle. You never know how long you're gonna last. It's always good to try to get yourself to be embedded in pop culture. You always have a job that way, But man, oh man, so of course, this had everybody up in an uproar. People going in. Some people saying, he attacking a black woman. And Ack is like, it's not about being black, white, whatever. It's about her, saying I lied. I didn't lie. What I said was true. He did. There was the DNA evidence was not conclusive to match with Tory Lanez. So that had to be thrown out. Tory's own legal defense team are going to go ahead and just verify that information. It shows favorable for Tory Lanez. So Ack was not lying. It's public information, and that's how he was able to access it. Now I will say this: I don't have a problem with Akademiks going in, and I see a lot of people complaining about Rosenberg was all like a black woman. Well, he had to turn the neck and was like eyes open wide, like Pete even paused for a second, like he just said something like, when you want to disrespect a black woman, and like pause for like the applause or something. He paused for the applause. And look, that's one of those things I hate, that black woman thing. It's like you can't say anything if they're a black woman. It's not about you being none of this had to do with her being a black woman. It was about something she said against Ack. And I gotta defend Ack on that, because he had every right to defend himself and call somebody out, because what she was saying could potentially, his credibility means everything in his line of work, because you wanted to trust and believe when Ack says something that's the truth. He is media, so you do want to believe him. So when somebody's accusing him of lying and he's not, he has every right to defend himself. Now, on the flip side, I will say Ack went above and beyond. The girl didn't go that far. Ack did. But as Charlamagne always says, when you have the right to say what you want, but you don't have the right to tell somebody how they feel or how they react. So while I don't think that Akademiks need to go that hard on Meg, when you, Meg or anybody, when you want to say something about somebody, you got no right to tell them how far they need to go back in their response to you. But what I will say is, I'm tired of people using the black woman thing to give people a pass, giving women a pass for when they are wrong. Because guess what? Everybody's wrong sometime. Every race, gender, sexual preference, culture, whatever, everybody's wrong sometime. From that group, everybody from that group can be wrong at a time. Yes, even black women, even strong, successful black women, they can be in the wrong. And I think in this instance, Meg was in the wrong. These were court documents that were already out there for the public. Like Akademiks said, this is a public case. This is not Meg's team suing Tory. This is the state suing Tory, or the state charging Tory, I should say, for the crimes that he's being charged for. So we can't just go ahead and just say whatever we want to say and think that the other person's not going to have a response. So Ak did have his response. Again, went too far, but he was not wrong in responding if somebody's saying something about him that is not true. Of course, Ak had to go in at Peter Rosenberg, and start talking about, I don't even know if this is true or not, start talking about Peter Rosenberg's, allegedly his wife cheated on him with a black man. And, Ak just went in and started saying, she left you for the BBC. You going at me. You need to be going at the BBC who took your wife. Because, again, Ak is mad disrespectful. So with all this stuff going on online, Meg decided, she was like, I got the receipts. I think Tory first said, you're not going to be able to lie or cry your way out of this, or whatever he said. And Meg was like, well, I got the receipts, pulled out some text messages of Tory apologizing, saying he's so sorry for the way things happened, which didn't happen the way, whatever. He was just so drunk. And she was like, well, if you ain't do nothing, what you apologizing for right there? And so then Tory came out and said, I'm apologizing because I messed with you and your friend. I was messing with two people. He said, good deed made me mess with two different people, had two friends beefing or whatever like that. And he was apologizing for doing that. And I think Meg even came out and said something about like, oh, you was messing with two friends, two women. You did women wrong. Again, completely ignoring the fact that Tory was messing with her friend first, and then she slid on in and tried to take him afterwards. I think something, him and the friend had stopped talking, or something happened where she was able to get in and come and claim him. And I guess she didn't know that. Maybe Tory was still messing with the friend too. Maybe Meg thought that Tory had stopped messing with Meg's friend after Meg and Tory had started messing with each other. Maybe that's what she thought. And so he was kind of like deceiving both of them, because she did know that Meg did know that Tory and her friend were messing with each other first. But again, maybe she just thought they stopped. But anyway, so yeah, it just continues to be a mess. It's been going on for so long. People say that they don't care no more, but anytime anything new happens, it becomes a huge story. So people still do care. I still care. I want to know the truth. Hopefully we'll get that. The one witness who said they saw the gunshot said it seemed like it was coming more from the friend than Tory. Add that with there's no DNA evidence of Tory on the weapon. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, let's just wait and see what happens. First Slaughterhouse breakup. Now every time I wake up, somebody got a problem with Ak. Dang, man. A lot of things hurt in this world. But this one right here, man. This one right here, though. But for real, I mean, this one right here really, really, really hurts, man. Slaughterhouse, the power group. So many people call the super group they would call, right? Of elite lyricists. Joe Budden, Royce the 5'9", Joell Ortiz, Crooked Eye, King Crook as he is now. They have broken up, man, seemingly out of nowhere to the fans. But if you believe Joell and Crook's side, this has been brewing for a long time, man. So yeah, it looked like Joell and Crook came out with a song, or a couple songs. They're about to drop a project. Pretty much it's gonna be called The Rise and Fall of Slaughterhouse. They have the pig being slaughtered, but burning the house down, or burning the group down. And it hurts, man. I remember when they first got together, so excited, and they dropped, they had their projects together when they signed to Shady, and they were just talking about it. They having their interviews about it. It was just, and I was a Joe Budden fan, so just seeing him getting the spotlight, I was so excited. And discovered all these dope lyricists, because I discovered all these guys through Joe. And just over the years here, just going to listen to some of their music for myself, man, and I loved it. I was like, yes, this real hip hop dudes just coming with bars, just barring them up, not really tripping off the charts, just wanting to wow you and razzle dazzle you with the lyrical ability, the metaphors, wordplay, all that stuff, man. It was fun. It was great. It was awesome. I just really, really, really wish that what's happening right now isn't happening, man. Because look, I was a Slaughterhouse fan, a fan of Joe Budden, and a super fan of Joe, a big fan of Slaughterhouse, and a fan of each person individually. Anytime I see anything about them coming, to this day, I go look. I don't listen to music as much as I did before, but I at least go check the project out, bump to it, be like, okay, I see what you're doing. But yeah, so Joell Ortiz and King Crook, they came out with that, pretty much, I guess, blaming Joe and to some degree Royce for the group not doing nothing together, saying that, Joe was being difficult and Royce didn't want to do nothing without Joe. Now, both Royce and Joe Budden, Royce the 5'9" and Joe Budden have both said that that's not true, that they're paying this narrative in the wrong way. Royce said he never said that he wouldn't do a 3-man group. Because that's what Joell Ortiz and King Crook state, that Royce said he wasn't doing the group without Joe. They came to him and said, well, maybe we could do a 3-man group, and Royce was like, nah, we can't do it without Joe. King Crook said that hurt him, that he felt like he was picking Joe over them. Again, Royce says that he only got offered a 3-man group one time. That was by Eminem's manager, Paul, and he said no because Joe didn't want to work with Shady, and Shady didn't want to work with Joe, and he said no to that. And then the other time was when King Crook had this deal, which seems like this deal that Crook got was like that last straw, the final nail in the coffin, if you will, on the Slaughterhouse group, or them making a comeback together. It seems like they all have a disagreement about this deal, but basically there was a deal for them to get money. I think they all pretty much say that Crook says that Joe was acting like he didn't want to do it. Joe says he was just tripping off the business end of it. He wanted to understand the business. Royce says that the dude was already saying he didn't want Joe, and Royce was like, well, who is he to come and tell us who gonna be in our group? This is our group. And I even think, to Joe's point, Joe was like, well, we already owners on this. So Crook's talking about, it's gonna be an ownership deal with it, and Joe's like, how he gonna tell us we already own it? We don't need, this is ours. He not doing us a favor. So that's from their point of view. From Joell and King Crook's point of view, I think they're just like, we was by any means to do this, and Joe was kind of pushing us to the side, wasn't really talking to us, wasn't really trying to deal with us. We was presenting stuff. We wanted the group to work. We went out and found offers and found things and brought it to you guys, and y'all pushed it away. Joe made his excuses. I think Joell and King Crook felt like they were just making excuses after excuse, and like, we really the dudes fighting for this. And you got every negative thing to say, so why don't you step up and you find some deals? Joe said he was willing to finance it. Joe said he wanted to finance. He said, I can finance this by myself. We don't need somebody else coming in and giving us these demands. King Crook, and maybe Joell said this too, they was like, nah, because you was already acting funny when you was on Love and Hip Hop. That's what I think King Crook said that. He was saying Joe was already acting funny when he was on Love and Hip Hop, thinking he should make more money than the rest of the group. And they was like, well, who knows what Joe will be like if he's funding all this. He might really try to make sure he get like a super bag over everybody. I would say that if he's funding it and it's going to be on his money, his risk, he should get the super bag, because you wouldn't have a problem if, whoever the producer, whoever the music producer or the executive producer, whoever it was, the label, if they put the money into it and they got a big portion of it, you wouldn't have a problem with that. So that is something that I kind of was like, whoa, what? Somebody's gonna get it either way. Would you rather be your homie, or would you be able to be, somebody else? So Royce and Joe got on to give, a lot of this was where they were giving their side of the story. Joe and Royce got on live and were talking. I guess somebody told Joell they was talking. He got on there with them. There was a little back and forth, a lot of disagreement. A lot of what I was saying they were talking about it. Joell was like, y'all didn't want to do it. And Royce and Joe was like, well, when did we say we didn't want to? And I think this right here is why communication is key. This is why everybody needs to say what it is they want, because you can listen to this conversation and see that it might have just been a big misunderstanding, because Joell kept saying, well, look what y'all was doing, I'll bring you something. You said, no, we're not doing that. And then you don't offer no rebuttal or whatever. Joe not answering people back, or he not liking, or you know what I'm saying? And on Joe and Royce's side, they like, bro, nobody ever said you weren't doing it. We just didn't want to do that. So, to me, listening to this, I think both sides are right. I think both sides are right from their perspective. It was just a lack of communication and a lack of understanding meaning behind things. And I wish if they had talked better, we might be in a more positive situation than where we're at now. You have so much division within the fan base just because, these people, they had their individual fans before they even came into this group. And so there's a lot of, the fan base has been fractured, split up. And that sucks, because I think we all love all four of these guys. We want them to make it work. But it is kind of a crappy thing to find out like the rest of the world that you guys are going to come out, airing out our private laundry and making money off of it and selling merch with because all four of them own Slaughterhouse equally. It's split 25%, each person. You're going to be making merch off of burning, our logo that we work so hard for. I get where Joe and Royce are coming from, but I also get where Crook and Joell are coming from when, bro, we kept trying to bring you business and you was not with any of it, and you didn't have no counter to it. You went out there trying to find it. You wanted us to find it. We found it. It's really, especially in the case of Crook, I found it, and it's just like you knocking it down. But again, it's like, but what you found wasn't really good, and I get where, especially Joe, he's like, I'm willing to do it, but, I'm not about to go take my time out of my day to find the right business work and find the right person. And actually, Joe was saying, I'll finance it, so I can do this for us. I think that's a point that even Crook admitted to that a lot of people are overlooking, that Joe wanted to be the one. Joe was willing to come out of retirement. So they keep saying that Joe's retired. I think by Crook's making that statement, talking about like, we're not going to let Joe, finance the album, because then he really going to be trying to get a bigger bag and try to, he already wanted more money than us because he was on Love and Hip Hop. I think all that is admitting that Joe was willing to come out of retirement. That just makes it another crappy thing. There's another, like, dang, man, we almost got Joe Budden back. And that's my favorite rapper. So that makes us even more sad and depressing for us Slaughterhouse fans, us Joe Budden fans, us hip hop fans, man. It would have been really dope if we would have got that power group back. But one thing I'm hoping for, I know a lot of people think this might be a big publicity stunt. They're going to come out and trick, say, we got you. I don't think they would do that. Yeah, I mean, I could be surprised. Maybe they would, but I don't think that's the case. I think this is really an issue. As far as the Joe Budden telling Joell Ortiz to suck his meat, he did not say that. He said the album can. And I think it was just a quick knee-jerk reaction because he was just talking about how hurt he was about this album and it just wasn't right. It was messed up. And he told him, I love you, though. He was like, well, if you love me, support the album. Kind of felt like a jab. I ain't gonna front. And like, I just made myself vulnerable to you as a man and you're gonna try to, make a joke with me or troll me. So I get him in that moment. He was like, man, that album could suck my dick. Like, he probably wasn't even thinking about it. He didn't tell him. He didn't invite Joell to his manhood. He said the album could. Like, I don't want to hear that. But a lot of people try to run with that narrative that Joe told Joell to suck it. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he did not. But yeah, hopefully this was just brothers squabbling, and who knows, maybe from this, Slaughterhouse is probably more talked about than it's been talked about in years. So maybe, hopefully, this could be like some unintentional good marketing that maybe in a year or two we can get an album from four of them, but probably not. So that's our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and getting this whack wisdom. Hope that you return next week and get a little bit more of that. If you haven't already, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell so you will be notified every time we drop a new episode of whether it's the podcast or the Talk Whack to Me series, which I'm going to be putting out. Yeah, though. I guess that's all for the show. Make sure you go ahead and follow us on, iTunes, or not iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. We on there. Yeah, so go ahead, give us, or give me, I guess I should say. I'm still saying this, but now give me a listen, man. I got a lot of opinions, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in and taking it in again, taking in some more of this whack wisdom, straight play all day. And if there's nothing else, this is the WACCast podcast, and I am whacking off.
It's the WACCast podcast. Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.
Yeah.
Talk whack to me. Talk whack to me.
It's the WACCast podcast.
Talk whack to me, talk whack to me, talk whack to me, talk whack to me.